Hey, everybody, welcome to TYT Sports. The championship games are over. They went great for me.
That's sarcasm if I've ever heard
Wow. Wow, those did not. Anyway, so I need to borrow some money from you.
That's a bad strategy, man, if you're coming to me.
So anyway, we're wrapping up the championship games with Taylor Jones from the NFL Network. He's been at TYT Sports before, graduate of Purdue University. Oh, always makes me laugh. Taylor played football at Northwestern successfully. Well, as successful as anybody at Northwestern can play football. And
this is off to a really good start.
Anyway, let's cover the first game first. Let's cover the Patriots-Broncos first. It felt to me just as I love thinking about when you're watching football, guys, what's the right thing that happens after you see a game? And when the Patriots scored that touchdown to pull it within 2018 with less than 30 seconds to play, and they had the 2-point conversion to tie it, which meant I might have won my wager if the Patriots covered in overtime, or at least pushed. It would have been an injustice if that game had gone to overtime. I felt like the wrong thing was about to happen if they'd gotten that 2-point conversion. So, Taylor, what did Denver... I've never seen... We have Cenk Uygur, the main host of the Young Turks, has a theory about that many people share that is not generally echoed in the mainstream media about Peyton Manning's playoff incompetence. Sometimes it goes all the way down to incompetence, that he's a different quarterback, not so much in the playoffs, but in that second playoff game, in a big game. Today, if you believe that, true or not, Tom Brady looked like the one with happy feet, forcing throws, throwing the ball away, throwing the ball at people's feet to avoid sacks. What did Denver do so effectively to make Tom Brady look like a totally different player?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't looked this bad, at least in my mind, since the Giants Super Bowls. And it was a very similar formula. They got home with a 4-man pass rush. And it wasn't just the outside guys. Derek Wolfe had a day inside. And, my hat's off to Wade Phillips. I think Von Miller is going to get all the credit, and rightfully so. He was a beast off the edge. But Wade Phillips put him in really, really great opportunities to make plays. We talked about that peel off the end, and he picked off that pass. Von Miller hasn't dropped back into coverage but 5 or 10 times all year. So Brady wasn't ready for that. And then later in the game, they sent Von Miller on a tackle-in twist and twisted him right into a misdirection running back screen. So in my mind, the Broncos, whether they just had perfectly timed calls or had good film study, they were more prepared than the Patriots in my mind. It was an out-coaching from the beginning.
If you were going to make a list of the 10 coaches who failed as head coaches but succeeded as coordinators, I think Wade Phillips is number one. I mean,
he was out of work last year. Can you believe that?
It's amazing. And a guy who's consistently made the defenses that he coordinates better. Wade Phillips was born to be a defensive coordinator and a great one that's hard to put a value on what he's worth.
It's amazing to me when you watch teams that can beat the Patriots. It's just, the strategy seems so simple. Get to Tom Brady. Don't have to use the blitz to get to Tom Brady. I think Taylor, when we were going back and forth yesterday, said there was maybe 8 blitz packages that entire game, and it was the front four that were causing the problems. And like that same, and I'm a Giants fan if we're going to use full disclosure here, but that same thing happened in the 2007 Super Bowl. It was Osi Umenyiora and Michael Strahan who was wreaking havoc on Tom Brady, but also the secondary for Denver. I mean, Brady gets the ball out in 2 seconds, but if you're getting to Brady before that, of course, that point, it's going to cause problems. But even after that point, there was only a few times that what we call like a dink and dunk offense was effective, and when it was effective for big yards, for the Gronkowski to Edelman. But again, they were able to, the man coverage wasn't just enough to prevent Brady from getting the ball out quick enough.
Yeah, Taylor, I'm just curious because, of course, that's true for everybody, right? I mean, the way to win, the way to guarantee defensive success in football is to put pressure on with 4 guys, but you can't do it frequently, right? It's incredibly hard to do. Every coach would like to be able to do that. So that speaks as much credit as Wade Phillips deserves to get. That speaks to the enormous talent of Denver's pass rush.
Yeah, the personnel matches up perfectly with what they're trying to do. When you have 2 shut down corners on the outside and Chris Harris and Aqib Talib, you can play cat defense, which is you take that cat, I'll take this cat, and the rest of the team can do whatever they need to do to get their jobs done because we're going to lock down these guys on the edge. And when you have that personnel, it allows you to do a lot of things, particularly in coverage if you're getting home with 4, because we've seen people try to simulate that pressure on Brady, but as soon as you start putting voids in the field by sending a blitz, particularly with Amendola and Edelman, there's nobody better at finding those holes than those 3 guys together. And when you've got linebackers sitting in those holes because they don't have to blitz, it's nearly impossible. And we saw that even when Brady wasn't pressured, he was happy feet. It looked, how many times did he do that thing falling off the back of his back foot and pump fake? And he just looked all out of whack the whole day.
You're getting to what my next question was, because the pass rush was impressive, right? Getting to Brady the way they did and getting to him even when they didn't sack him, but making him. But there were a couple times he stepped up in the pocket and you thought, okay, he's just bought himself a second and a half, and now it's good. That's all he needs. And then the happy feet would start again. And the number of balls spiked into the ground. It did not look like Tom Brady. And then, you give the coverage credit, clearly that's the case. There were a couple times on that wide, the bird's eye shot, where it also seemed to me that we had Patriot receivers running into each other or running right by each other, and therefore bringing 2 guys into coverage. Did you see that as well? It looked like whatever Denver was doing was throwing Brady off, was throwing the entire Patriot offense off.
Well, I'll tell you this, as good as Wade Phillips did defensively, I think Josh McDaniels failed offensively just as poorly, because we saw Edelman, Amendola, and Gronkowski up the seam a couple of times, particularly on that long play to set up the final score there. But Edelman and Amendola are running these quick hitches where typically we like to see them run across the field through the zones and give Brady some different windows. But with them running these hitches, just sitting down, they're covered up and Brady's got nowhere to go. The best play they had all day, and they went to it many times, was putting James White outside as a receiver and bringing Danny Trevathan or Brandon Marshall out with him one-on-one with a linebacker, and they would run him on a little slant and go and have him down the sideline. And Brady had him open 2 or 3 times and missed that throw too. Yeah. So I think it was a combination of things.
Yeah,
it was McDaniel's failure to adapt and call some different plays, and then it was Brady just missing, and we don't see that often.
Yeah, because James White, at first I was getting on James White because I thought, hey, look, you got to make one of these plays, because there were about 3 or 4 deep 20-plus plays that he didn't make the catch on. But you know what? The fact is, the ball wasn't there.
The ball wasn't there, and he's matched up against guys who got 5, 6, 7, 8 inches on him. I mean, there was a play where, of course, Brady's throw on one of them where he had to go over the defensive back to try to grab it would have been a spectacular catch, but it was a mismatch. Yeah, they had him on the route. If Brady had a little more juice on his throw or even a little more time, it might have get there, but I'm not going to blame James White for that. James White, yeah. I get it. Gamers are going to make the right plays in the right time. Superstars are going to step up, which, of course, we'll talk about in another clip. But the Denver defense was simply too much for Brady to handle. It's the top-ranked defense in the league for a reason. And while 99% of the country had the Patriots winning that game, when you watched it happen, you kind of knew at the end of the first quarter, if they don't make any adjustments here, this game's going to be over. And you did mention it would have been a little bit of an injustice. What I find amazing, though, is that, of all things, this is the first year with the 33-yard extra point. And that had a costly effect on what could have been, of course it's a what-if, but what could have been the game-tying extra point on Gronkowski's amazing 4th and 10 catch to start that, a more amazing 4th and goal touchdown to get there.
Yeah, and how many 4th downs did the Patriots fail on? 3, 2? I mean, it was it was.
They had to convert on 4th down because they certainly weren't converting on 3rd down.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
15 on the day, they had to do something.
Yeah. That was. It was a remark. It was not a game that I mean, you guys. I guess the Giants Super Bowls, but I just didn't think the Patriots were capable of playing like that. But you see what you got. You got players who weren't at their best, and presumably, and certainly Edelman, and not having Deion Lewis, it turns out, makes a big difference.
There's a lot of run game.
Nobody could run the ball until C.J. Anderson.